fracturing is?
No.
Okay, well, hydraulic fracturing is the recovery of natural gas from the earth, and how they do it is that they drill into the earth and they shoot fluids at very high pressures into the ground to open up these shale formations so that hydrocarbons are released, and that's basically how hydraulic fracturing is done. Fracking isn't anything new. It's been around since the 1940s, but it's being brought up because it's a lot easier than drilling for oil or things like that. Okay, and even though it's a lot easier and it's becoming more popular, there's a lot of problems with fracking. One of the biggest problems with fracking is air pollution and its impact on climate change. Methane is one of the main components of natural gas, and it is 25 times more potent in trapping heat in the atmosphere than carbon dioxide. So even though natural gas burns cleaner, it still releases methane, and like I said, it's a lot more dangerous than carbon dioxide. So greenhouse gases that are correlated with natural gas is a lot more dangerous. And in the process of fracking, the fluids used aren't 100% water. You are actually exposed to toxic chemicals, and there are over 700 chemicals used in fracking, and there is actually 8 million gallons of water used in one single frack, and a well can only be fracked so many times. I believe that the number is 20, so that's 40,000 gallons of chemicals. And some of these chemicals aren't even released to the public to know because they are so toxic. Some of them include lead and radium in humans. There's research that found that 75% of the chemicals could affect your skin, eyes, and other sensory and respiratory systems. And 40 to 50% could affect the brain and nervous, immune, and cardiovascular systems. So basically, all of this can cause cancer and mutations, so it is very dangerous for people who are working on these sites. Like any other way to get fossil fuels, there could be explosions, so again, it is dangerous. And one big one that people don't really think about or don't know is that fracking can actually cause earthquakes. In cities like Denton or in cities in Oklahoma, there have been earthquakes, and it can be correlated to fracking, and homeowners are very upset because their houses weren't built to withstand earthquakes. So there are very upset people who protest and try to get fracking banned in those cities. Like any other problem, there are solutions, and some of them include to pass a carbon tax so that energy companies would no longer get away with passing their so-called external or pollution onto the community or the environment. So that would just help everybody so that, they wouldn't get away with just polluting. Oh, and one of the big problems that I missed is that fracking can actually contaminate the groundwater, and groundwater usually goes into our drinking systems. And how this happens is that only 40 to 50% of the water used in fracking is recovered, and the rest of it is just left in the ground. So lead can get into our water systems, and we drink it, and it just gets us all sick. So there again, there are health issues with that. And so one of the other solutions is just to use clean energies like solar panels or hydro plane systems so that we can reduce fracking. And I know some of you are saying, if hydraulic fracturing is so dangerous and can't contaminate our water, why isn't it regulated by the Safe Drinking Act? Well, my answer to that is that the Safe Drinking Act regulates the injection of materials into the ground, but excludes those related to hydraulic fracturing so long as diesel is not used. even though in the industry acknowledges the lack of regulation, they are trying to make lawmakers establish a system of rules to regulate the drilling, and most gas companies have said maintaining the environment and preventing leaks are paramount concerns for them as well. So they're trying to get laws passed so that we don't get sick and stuff like that. So they're trying to watch out for this, but that just may be in the near future. Another question that you may have is, why should we stop fracking altogether? And my answer to that is fracking proposes many issues that range from health problems to earthquakes, and even the city of Denton, Texas, or the birthplace of fracking, has banned it. So my thought on that is, if the origin of the problem has done away with it, why should we still keep going? And the last question is that I know fracking has provided a lot of jobs and has had a positive effect on our economy. What are we supposed to do about those jobs that have been taken away? And honestly, this is just something that each state must take up. Each governor has to make their own decisions, but with fracking out of the picture, there's less chance of people getting sick, so they don't have to pay for medical bills. And unemployment in the U.S. is not uncommon, and we have been dealing with this since 2008. And actually, the Bureau of Labor Statistics has said that jobs will increase in 2022. So these people are just going to have to apply for unemployment benefits and do the best they can. Thank you.